Hi guys, welcome back for another video. A big thank you to all you wonderful subscribers and to the people that hit the like button. Your help means a lot to the making of these videos. Before we get moving, I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of the land where we're walking today, and pay my respects to their elders past and present. Right, we're continuing down Sussex Street. In today's episode, it's more of the same, a bit of history and some interesting stories, and a gruesome murder. If you didn't see part one, hopefully you can check it out after this one. The link will be in the description, but stick around because this end of the street has a few more shadows and a lot more secrets. But first, we need a Matrix reference for the series. Check out this tower right here, looming over the Shelbourne. Back in 1998, they filmed the massive helicopter finale on this very corner. This is the BT Tower, the one the helicopter actually crashes into in that slow motion ripple scene. Most people just see an office block, but for us, it's a true survivor of one of the biggest action scenes in cinema history. They used a massive miniature for the crash, and real glass for the explosion where we were standing. It's a proper glitch in the Matrix, hidden right here in plain sight. Right here on our right is Darling Park. It looks like a sleek business hub now, but back in the 1800s, this whole area was a labyrinth of wharves and warehouses, specifically the site of Wright's Wharf and the Iron Wharf. Imagine the chaos, right? Where those glass towers are, steamships docked up, hundreds of horse-drawn wagons fighting for space, and the air thick with coal smoke. The city actually leveled this whole precinct in the mid-80s in a clean sweep to create what we see today. The master plan was originally designed in the early 1990s by the legendary architect Harry Seidler, but it was the American architect Eric Kuhner who delivered the final design we're looking at now. They built it in stages between 1991 and 2005. Now, we aren't heading inside today, but here's a pro tip. Tucked right in the middle of those towers is the Crescent Garden. It's a massive 3,000 square metre oasis that most people reckon is private, but it's actually open to the public. From above, it's designed to look like a giant Waratah, our state flower. It's the perfect spot to find a bit of quiet. If you are down here, go check it out. Coming up is Druitt Street. If you hang a right here, you can make your way straight down to Darling Harbour, and if you head left, you'll end up at QVB, Town Hall Light Rail and the train station. You know, if you're like me, Sussex Street has always just been a street I cross to get to somewhere else. You never really stop to look at the stone walls or think about the legends who built them. It's actually funny when you slow down and look around. This street is absolutely packed with hotels now. You've got the massive Hyatt Regency, the West Hotel, the Vibe and the Adena. Then you've got the old school heritage pubs that are still going strong, like the Shelbourne, the Sussex, the Bristol Arms, the Dundee Arms and the Royal George. It's gone from a place where the wharfies work themselves to the bone to a place where people come from all over the world just to put their feet up. If you're staying in any of these, you're literally sleeping on top of Sydney's oldest industrial history. Guys, time to help me beat the YouTube algorithm. Can you please hit that like button for me? If you do that, this video gets out to more amazing people like yourselves. It costs nothing, but it truly means the world to me. Oh, and if you want to buy me a coffee, there's a link in the description. A massive shout out to Jimmy, Bob and Anthony. Cheers, guys. Look, just a quick heads up, we are in the heart of the city and life happens, which means construction happens. I'll do my best with the edit, but consider this a bit of a sound warning for the next stretch. It's all part of the atmosphere, but I figured I'd let you know before the jackhammers take over. The cars, trucks, the jackhammers, the colourful Aussie language. These are uncut walks. Well, except sometimes at the lights or other major factors. Drop a comment and let me know how you feel about life in the city or wherever you are watching from. I truly love to hear from you guys. Sussex Street was famous in Australian law for a gruesome event in 1866. The butcher, William Scott, was renting a house at number 396 near the corner of Little Hay Street up ahead. That is where he murdered his wife, a woman the locals called Kangaroo Liz. But the truly gruesome part happened right up here near the corner of Bathurst Street. That is where a young kid walking his dog found her remains hidden in an outdoor toilet at the back of a pub. Using his professional skills, he dismembered her body and, in a chilling turn, hired unsuspecting passers-by for a shilling to help carry a foul-smelling trunk down this very street, claiming it held old clothes. The grim discovery of her remains was made near the Walter Scott Inn, shocking the city. This, combined with another brutal murder in 1878, led the press to label this area a modern Golgotha, a place of the skull. When this hit the courts, it was a proper circus. The prosecution brought in Dr. Renwick, who told the jury the body was chopped up with professional skill, which basically pointed the finger straight at Scott's butcher shop. The real nail in the coffin, though, was when they found out Scott was a bigamist. He had another wife in Melbourne who'd just written to him, and suddenly he had a cold-blooded reason to clear the decks in Sydney. His lawyer, William B. Daly, tried to argue it was all a media setup, but the jury wasn't having it. Scott went to the gallows at Darlinghurst Jail in 1867, still swearing he didn't do it. This is the former Sussex Street Public School, built back in 1875. It was designed by George Allen Mansfield, the same architect who did other legends like Crown Street Public. Back then, this was a tough neighbourhood, and this school was the only place for the local kids to get an education while their dads were working the wharves just down the hill. Life in the city of Sydney is a funny thing. You've got the high flyers in the glass towers, the workers keeping the gears turning, and the tourists just trying to find their way to the water. It's a city that never really sits still. One minute you're walking past a 5-star hotel and the next you're stepping over the ghost of an old wharf. It's that constant shuffle between the new world and the old world that makes a walk down Sussex Street so interesting. You have to look past the polish to find the real character of the place. We're coming up to the corner of Liverpool Street now, and if you look around, you can really see the signs starting to change. We're leaving the purely industrial vibe behind and moving into the real cultural soul of the street. You'll notice more neon, more Mandarin and Cantonese characters on the shop fronts, and the sense of the old spice markets getting stronger. Back in the day, these signs weren't just for business, they were a lifeline for the community that built this end of town. It's a true survivor of a precinct that's had to fight for its identity for over a century. Right here on the corner of Liverpool Street is the Commerce Building. This massive red brick beauty went up around 1916 for a timber merchant named Robert Chadwick. It's a true survivor of a clean-up job. Before this was built, this whole corner was a maze of shacks and lean-tos. that were so bad the city actually condemned them after the bubonic plague hit in 1900. They cleared the lot and built this instead, a proper solid warehouse for the new era of trade. If you look at the architecture, it has that grand Federation style that was all about showing off the city's wealth. It's funny to think that one of the first tenants here was a legendary signwriting firm called Outhouse and Geiger. They probably hand-painted half the signs that used to hang over this street back in the day. As we head towards the corner of Goulburn Street, you can really feel the vibe shift. This is the heart of the old Chinatown transition, and man, it has changed so much. Today, it's all modern storefronts, but when I was a kid, it was a completely different world. I can still remember the smell of the spices hanging heavy in the air right here. It was thick, unique, and totally different from any other part of Sydney. You had the scent of dried ginger, tea, and star anise coming from the open warehouse doors. Back then, this area was a maze of market gardens meeting the wharves, and that smell is something you never forget. And right here on the corner is the Star Hotel. This beautiful red brick survivor, now painted over, was built in 1923 and designed by the legendary architect Sidney Warden, the same bloke who did hundreds of the city's most iconic pubs. It's a true survivor of the old Chinatown soul. It sits right opposite where the old trades hall used to be, meaning this was the local for the unionists and the workers who literally built this city. It's a bit quieter now, a welcome escape from the hustle, but those rendered classical details on the facade are a direct link back to the roaring 20s, when this corner was the centre of everything. Now, before we push on toward the end of the block, I have to give you a heads up. We are right in the heart of some of the best food in Sydney. You have everything from world-class yum cha and spicy Szechuan spots to hidden little ramen joints tucked into the alleys. If you are following this walk in person, do yourself a favour and stop for a feed around here. The variety is incredible, and it is a massive part of what makes this end of the street so vibrant today. But stick with me for a few more minutes. We have one last legend to find before we hit the finish line at Hay Street. Now, as we move through this stretch, you have to imagine the sheer scale of the trade that used to happen here. This was the headquarters for Wing Sang and Company, and these blokes were the absolute banana kings of the Pacific. They weren't just local shopkeepers, they were pioneers who built a massive commercial empire. They owned their own plantations in Fiji and eventually even their own fleet of steamships to bring the produce straight into the wharves. It was a huge operation that bridged the gap between the market gardens of the south and the shipping trade of the north. They turned this end of Sussex Street into a global hub long before the glass towers arrived, proving that you didn't need a penthouse to be a real player in this city. This end of the street goes off during Chinese New Year. It is a total sensory overload with the lion dances and the drums, a direct link to those early merchant families who started it all. I have a video on the channel that takes you right into the heart of the festival, so definitely check that out to see this place in full swing. Before we finish up, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has subscribed. If you have not joined us yet, please think about it. I would love to have you along for the upcoming videos. If you have any ideas or favourite streets you want me to tackle next, let me know in the comments. And if you have a favourite restaurant or a hotel on Sussex Street, give them a shout out. It might help someone else out who is heading down this way. We have reached the end of Sussex Street, and I cannot think of a better way to finish than right here at the Golden Watermouth. Most people just call it the Gold Tree, but its real name is Jin Shui Ku. It is a true survivor, a real 200-year-old eucalyptus from the old goldfields, now covered in 23-carat gold leaf. It was designed by the artist Lin Lee to bring good fortune and harmony to this corner. For me, it is the perfect symbol for this street, taking a piece of the old, gritty Australian bush and transforming it into something high class and golden. Cheers for watching. I will see you in the next one. See ya.